All right, we are officially live. What is going on, my people? Welcome to another week of Shut Up and Invest. What's up, J Money?
Yeah, what's going on, Kevin?
Can you hear me good?
Beautiful day out there. Yeah, I can hear you perfectly. Yep.
All right,
I'm gonna share this so that we get it out to some people so they know we're on right now.
there you go. All right, guys, today we're going to get into a hot topic. We've been getting a lot of DMs. We actually just finished in our training, which you can find at shutupandinvest.com, a high level texting. And we're going to kind of get into some of it now because there is some recent changes that we recommend when you're texting people to generate motivated sellers to see if they're interested in selling. So texting right now is probably the highest response rate out of all the marketing, versus email, versus direct mail, and versus cold calling. People will have no problem having a conversation, telling you to go fly a kite, whatever it might be. Text message. I think like people have more confidence behind a phone screen, right?
They definitely do, man. They think if you're actually talking to them, right? Even though they still can't see who you are, but they think if you're actually talking to them, it scares them. But when you type, those Twitter fingers, when you type, you got a lot more bravado when I'm typing instead of saying out my mouth.
100%. All right, what's up? We're getting our YouTube people on. What's up, guys? So, yeah, I mean, think about it. Like you hear all the time the celebrities talking about trolls online, and everybody is a lot more confident and has no problem engaging, whether it be positive or negative,
Yeah.
when they're not face to face or even over the phone. And I'm one of those people, to be honest with you. I would much rather have a full conversation texting because I can do other things at the same time than have to jump on the phone. Then I got to stop what I'm doing. I got to sit there and have, put my attention to the conversation. But if I'm texting, even if it takes me 5 minutes to respond back, I can literally be doing two or three things. So, especially during the day when I'm focused and I'm working, most of my conversations are texting.
I agree. I mean, it's just allows you to be more able to multitask at the same time. So, it's the fastest way to reach somebody right now. It's the best way to reach somebody right now. So I definitely get it.
Yeah.
It's the highest response as far as like closing deals right now for most companies, and it's a low cost marketing tool. So
Yeah. So the latest percentage is it's over 95% response rate. Um, you versus it's not that you want to stop doing any of the other marketing channels. You'll still send emails, you'll still do direct mail, you'll still cold call, but none of them are even close to the response rate as a text
you said
message.
you said over 95. You said
Over 95% response rate when you send now. Not let me correct myself. Not response rate, delivery rate. So they
delivery rate.
will see
Okay,
it.
yeah,
They will
that's it.
they will see the text message. Now, should they choose to respond, that's a different question. And it's still a much better response rate than all the other ones, but it's over 95% deliverability that they will see it. I get it all the time. All these spam text messages of, junk cars and magic pills and work at home and make $10,000 a week. And I get those text messages every week.
Yeah, I definitely do too. Yeah, yeah. The 95% delivery rate is correct, and then we'll talk about today. Our response rate jumped up to like over 30% over the last month, right? With some changes we made. Whereas before, I think the average response rate was around 18, 19%. But still, if you do direct mail, you're happy to get 5% response rate. If you do cold calling, I mean, cold calling is probably a little bit higher rate, but you lose a lot of a little higher rate than that. But definitely that 19% and higher is the best you can kind of look for when you're out here marketing.
Yeah. So today we kind of wanted to go a little deeper than some of the things we went into the training. There's a couple of words that we started to the industry and from some of our high level providers and masterminding and getting feedback and being plugged in. We started seeing that some words in text messages are kind of being filtered and flagged by the service providers.
Definitely, yeah. I use Batch Lead Stacker. Shout out to Batch. Shout out to Jesse, Evo, and any other guys over there. And we actually had a period. It was like 1 or 2 days back in early April, I think it was, where the texts weren't going out, like they weren't being delivered. And so we're trying to figure out what's going on. Well, the providers were flagging them in mass, right? And they're flagging certain keywords. So I actually had a call with Jesse. He actually gave me a call and kind of broke down, what they were suggesting to do and not what, and what not to do. And actually gave me the words that you should not use, and then gave me some information on how you should text, right? So we'll kind of go over that today.
Yeah. So why don't we start off breaking down some of the words that you kind of want to stay away from? So if you're implementing a text strategy and you're targeting potential motivated sellers, whether you're trying to get them into giving you a discounted deal, or even if you're a realtor and you're trying to get them to list the property, this applies across the board. This is when you're targeting homeowners. If you start your text message off with certain words, they're starting to get flagged and they're not even being delivered. So what's one of the first words, Jay, that they want to stay away from?
Well, I think a lot of people, as soon as COVID hit, they started using that in their text messages, right? Coronavirus or COVID. And that was a huge red flag that was getting flagged by all the providers, right? We never put that in ours, but just putting that in there, right? It set off an alarm. Okay, why is everybody texting this? Because if you think about it, how many people are texting across the country, right? If they all thought, hey, it's good to put that in our, on our initial text right now. What happens is when a phone service sees the same words being sent a lot, they say, why is that happening? And that's why it gets flagged. So those are the first two.
Now, we're not talking about if you're talking with your girlfriend or boyfriend, husband or wife, mom and dad, and you're sending 1 or 2 text messages in a period of 2 minutes. That's not the issue. But if you're now doing high level marketing where you're about to send out 100 text messages and all of it has these keywords in the opening text messages, that's where you're going to have a problem.
Because remember, when you're texting, right? I don't know. I have like 20 numbers per market that I use through Batch, but some people have like they're using one number, right? Or they might be using 2 numbers. So if one number is saying the same thing over and over and over and over again, that's what they're seeing, right? They're seeing this one number saying, "Hey, you're looking to sell," right? So selling or sell. That was the next one that they said. Don't use these words. Don't use selling. Don't use purchasing.
You're cutting out, Jay. You're cut off. Say it a little slowly because you got some feedback there.
They were saying don't use the word sell or selling, and they were saying don't use the word purchasing, right? I want to purchase or purchasing. So they were saying to eliminate those words from your initial texts. Because remember, all we're trying to do is get that initial text through so that they respond to us. Another word was interested, right? Hey, are you interested in selling your house? That's pretty much the normal, initial text from the majority of people. So interested, purchasing, seller, owner. Those 4 were the 4 keywords, and putting the address in the first text were the ones that were getting flagged by the cell phone providers.
All right. So anything related to, hey, selling, interested, owner, those mass and high volume, they're getting stuck.
They're getting stuck. Now,
they're
not even going through.
Now you're taking the deliverability rate of 90-something% and it's being eliminated just because they're starting to realize people are using it to quote unquote spam a bunch of people.
Definitely. Yeah. So they're just blocking it from the get-go.
Right. Now, before I ask the strategy questions, you mentioned 20 numbers. Why don't you break down how you rotate those numbers?
Got it. So let's say I'm in the Michigan market, right? And I'm in Grand Rapids, and I have a list of 2,000 names, and I'm using 20 numbers, right? So that first number won't text out again until it gets to the 21st person, right? So it goes through 20, right? And then I have 20 numbers, but I also have 10 initial messages, right? So my initial message, I have 10 different ones of those. So that first number won't get back to the same message until it's on this 11th text. And that's the way where you rotate it. You rotate it so it's not being like, hey, this one number says the same thing, 2,000 times.
Right. Now that's high level ninja stuff right there, so that you have no problem getting your rate. So the first number that ends in 333, that one says, "Hey Bob, how are you?" Then
Definitely.
the second person in your contact list gets a phone number 444, and that one says, "How are you, Jeff?" And then
Yeah.
the third one is 555, and then that message says, "Jeff, you got a second?" And then now you're constantly changing both the message and the number for every 20 contacts.
20. Yep. Every 20. Every 20, then that number is in the message every 11th, every 10th one. It's a new message. Right. So there's a lot of diversity in there.
Got it. Exactly. So I hope you guys followed that rotation of not being stuck to this. And here's what you're definitely not doing, unless it's just a handful of people. What we're talking about is using a texting service and a platform that is going to be able to provide these kind of things. Because if you're trying to text one by one with your cell phone, that's a whole different game.
Yeah. I use Batch. I mean, Batch sets up for us, right? Batch Segger has it in there. So, I pay for my amount of numbers. They pick the numbers and then they rotate themselves. I'm not sitting there, or my guys aren't sitting there, hey, this one and that one. That's kind of like what? Like a crossword puzzle or something, trying to figure out where you're at.
Yeah. So it's a nice round robin automated system. If you guys are interested in the software that we're using, we have worked out a special arrangement for our fans and for the listeners of the show. So go ahead and reach out to us. We'd be happy to get that for you. You can also find that at shutupandinvest.com. When you're carving out these messages now, let's talk a little bit of strategy. Definitely. If you're now being careful of not putting, hey, are you interested? Hey, are you the owner? Are you selling? Are you interested? All those buzzwords are being taken out. And kind of like, if you look at how we've always been trained, the initial conversation, the initial cold call, the initial direct mail piece, all has that as the intro. So now what's the approach with the text message to not get flagged, but still accomplish the same thing, which is basically getting a response?
So you said it earlier. You said that first text was, hey, Bob, how are you? Right? Oh, no. Hi, is this Bob? Right? Then, hey, did you get text? Right? Or, hey, I sent you a postcard. Did you get the postcard? Or, hey, this is Jory, right? Or, this is, how are you? Basically, we're texting them like we're texting a normal human, and we're not asking them to try to buy a house in that first text. We're going to be like, oh, that's spam. We're just trying to get a response, right? Mm-hmm. So, like, I think I kind of forgot what our main goal was, is to get a response so that we can get in front of them. Mm-hmm. So now our texts are simple, like 3 or 4 letters, just like 3 or 4 words. Like if you were texting Kevin, like, hey, what are you doing? Mm-hmm. And then we get a response back. Then we go in for the kill.
Right. Because once you get a response back, the providers now think this is a conversation, and now they're not flagging it. So now your next step is to be able to start. It's like dating. Like, don't try to take them home all on the first night. All you want them to do is be able to stick around and not think you're crazy and that you're some weirdo. So your first text message is just the opening date. Hey, how are you? What's up? And they responded. Boom, beautiful. Now we can start courting them into a normal conversation. Now, usually the response is, who is this?
Definitely, yeah. And so if you use, most of us use a system where they don't even just text back, call you back, right? So what happened was the first time we did this, we sent out like our 100 texts right away like we normally do. And the phone went crazy. I had a bunch of people call me back saying, hey, who just texted me? And we couldn't handle the phone lines, right? So we actually had to dial back how many texts we sent out one time. Now we send like 25 every 10 minutes so that we can handle the responses, because they're going to respond now, right? Like they're going to respond, about 35, 40% of the time. You have to be able to handle that.
Yeah. Now, in the, hey, who is this? Or how'd you get my number? What's the best intro from there? Because I still see a lot of people making the mistake of just like 2-page text message, like trying to make the full pitch of like, hey, I'm a local investor and I'm doing this and it's like a diarrhea of text messages.
So what we did is, right, our old initial text message was like, hey, this is Jory. I'm looking to buy another rental, blah, blah, blah. Those now become our second text. We just moved those back a text, right? Before those were our first text, we were getting flagged. Now they're our second text. So we just moved them back a step because now we got the response. And then we, ask them, hey, you're looking to sell or we're looking to buy a rental, the basic stuff. But yeah, I don't put any of the I'm an investor, not a realtor. I don't do any of that. I ask that second text now, which is my question of letting them know who I am, what I'm trying to do. Then I wait to hear what they say back to me.
Right. So you're actually trying to make a conversation. You're not trying to go into this whole credibility package into a second point. You're now just texting back and forth. You're making your intentions clear that you're looking to buy a property in that area and seeing if they are interested in selling. And then you're waiting for another response.
Definitely, yeah. Because again, when we text, our main goal is to get on the phone, right? We like to be no more than 4 texts. We want to be on a phone call as soon as they say they're interested. So yeah, we're just kind of waiting to hear what they say. You usually get the, Kevin who, then you'll go, my name is Kevin. I'm a local investor, just looking to see if buying the rental. Are you interested? Right? You end each text with "Are you interested?" to try to find out if they want to sell or not.
Yeah. Now, at what point in that conversation are you in your mind saying, when's the right time to try to make this a phone call? What are the key
as soon as they show me any interest in selling, right? It could be, I thought about it, not till next year. Any glimmer of hope they want to sell, we're trying to say, hey, can I give you a call to discuss this property in more detail?
Right. So you prefer to get it on the phone as soon as they show some type of response towards, all right, let's talk about this. Not, hey, go screw yourself, leave me alone.
Yeah, no, I prefer to get on the phone then, yeah. That's what works for us. Now, some people don't want to get on the phone. Like you already said it. Some people just want to text. They're more comfortable texting. So I've had people give me their whole life story via text, but the majority still want to give you on the phone before they give you that much more information.
Are you like feeling it out to see, is this person wanting to be on a text message or are they open for a phone call? How do you know, or what feeling do you get to know, I should ask right now if we should jump on the phone?
Well, if they say they want to sell, right, then I'm going to ask right away. And then if the response to me is kind of like, lukewarm on jump on the phone call, I'll try to continue texting them, right? Like if they were happy to sell, but then when I try to call them, now it's like, don't call me. Then I'll say, well, let's just keep talking to each other over text and string it out that way. If somebody's asking a lot of questions, one thing with text, you always have to be careful because, there are some stuff that could happen from text as far as regulations. We don't know. I mean, as long if you do it and your platform is right and they're legal, you should be good. But, there are people out there who are just fishing for information on you. So if someone's asking me a ton of questions, I'm like, why are you asking me those kind of questions? I'm going to just say, hey, give me a call or just kind of cut off the conversation.
Yeah. Alexander Lloyd on YouTube says, if they text me decent replies twice, I'm calling. That's a good rule of thumb. You respond to me twice and you don't tell me to go fly a kite, I'm calling. Now, me personally, I like to clarify that I'm going to call, or are they open for a phone call instead of just calling right away. Now, I have others that are aggressive like that. And if they reply, for example, in that example twice, they're just going to go ahead and call, and you may or may not get a pickup. Like, it's just, oh, wait a minute, we're talking via text, and now all of a sudden you're calling me. Okay, I didn't give permission for a call. There is no right or wrong. I'm just telling you, I like to clarify and let them know that I am, hey, are you open to jump on a quick call? And then if they say, yeah, sure, give me a call, or, oh, I'm tied up right now. Hey, no problem. We could keep texting. That's kind of how I play that move.
And then you have the one, who responds yes or something nice. Then you text them again and they disappear, right? They disappear. We're going to call them, they're going to go into our CRM. They're going to be put in our green workflow, which means we're going to call them. We're going to text them. We're going to drop them RVMs, and we're going to just keep hounding them until we get them on the phone because they showed me they want to sell.
Yeah. I call those the ghosts.
They get ghosts quick.
When they all of a sudden ghost, leave me hanging, it's like, whoa, wait. I thought we were friends. Where'd you go? But that's not necessarily a dead lead because you don't know. Like, hey, we're not the most important conversation right there. Exactly. They haven't gotten to know us, like us, or trust us yet. It doesn't mean it's dead. It might be that they were in the middle of work and they started talking with someone else and they're not going to pay attention to that. So don't automatically assume that it's dead and they don't want to deal with you. They could just have gotten distracted.
I mean, there's days where I forget to text my mom back and she gets on me about that, right? So, they're not going to put me at the top of the ladder to respond to me right away.
Listen, that is a great example. How many times do our loved ones get pissed at us? Hey, I text you. What happened? You didn't call me back. You didn't. Oh, man, I got caught up.
Yeah.
100%. So always, I think that's a very good point. Approach this with giving everybody the benefit of the doubt, like that mindset of thinking that everybody is rejecting you and everybody doesn't want to talk to you. That's like fear. Like when you're like scared to pick up the phone, you're scared to have that conversation with a potential deal. Like always give them the benefit of the doubt. They might be sending you to fly a kite, but if they didn't say it, then think they're busy and you're going to just try them a little bit later, like every day later.
Yeah, I mean, here's the key, right? The text again is the initial response. You got to have a nice, follow-up workflow, right, to get these people. Because when we're texting them, I might have 20 what we call hot leads after we texted 2,000 people, and I might have been able to get 5 of them on the phone. But all 20 then go on my CRM, and we're going to keep hitting them up, right, from every angle. So now they're going to get hit up from every angle because they showed me interest in selling, So that initial text thing and the text message conversation, that's not the end of it. Then you follow up. So if you don't have a good follow-up game, we keep talking about the follow-up, right? You're going to miss these leads.
Yes, sir. We got another question from Jay on YouTube. Are you calling people who are insisting on you giving a price over text? That's a good question.
I try to call them, I always let people know if I'm going to give you a price sight unseen, it's going to be a lowball offer. You're not going to like it. Like I tell them that because for me to buy a house without seeing it, right? And over text, they probably gave me a little information, but you can't trust what they're telling you, right? I tell them it's going to be a lowball offer. So I can give you a price or we can discuss this in some more detail, set up an appointment. I can give you a fair cash offer. It's up to them.
So you're doing this all over text because they're insisting for you to text them a price before jumping on a phone call.
If they insist the price, then I'll throw something out there. But I warn them before my price comes out that it's going to be a low offer.
100%. All right. Now, if you call and they don't pick up, how long do you wait before continuing the conversation via text?
If I call and they don't pick up, we'll probably text them right away and say, hey, I just tried giving you a call. You didn't answer. What's a good time to talk? Tell me a good time to talk.
Yeah. I always do the text. Hey, I just missed you. I've left you a voicemail, but whenever you get a free chance, give me a buzz. And then boom, they go into our campaign that'll start doing the follow-up and task me when it's time for me to jump back on there.
Definitely. Remember, the follow-up campaigns are amazing because they're automated now, right? So we're just trying to pull as many hot leads into our system and let our system automatically follow up with them. They might not respond to us for 2 months, but 3 months down the road, that initial text that we got them in our system. Now they get an RVM and they call us back, So it's just a game of putting hot leads in your system.
Yep. Alexander's asking us, at what point do you DNC a number? Do not call a number.
That's going to be, your FUs. You never call me again. I'm turning you into the district attorney. Any of those we DNC. If it's just a no, you're going to keep getting texts, right? If you don't curse me out, you're going to keep getting texts from me, pretty much.
Yeah, 100%. Now, even if they curse me out via text or even on the phone when I'm with them, like, how'd you get my number? You guys are scammers, always trying to take advantage, and I'm not selling you for dirt cheap, this and that. Say, hey, I apologize. No problem. We won't bother you again. I was simply just trying to make you a cash offer. I'm reminding them that one last time.
Yeah, definitely, yes. Before you hang up.
Because I've had, right after they go off and I respond that way, say, well, how much? Now, all of a sudden, I'm back in the game.
Definitely. And that's key too, though, right? Because when you get that text that says no, we don't leave it at no. We go back to another text that says, well, if you're looking to sell in the future or know anyone that is looking to sell, please let us know. Yeah. We're giving that last carrot out there for them to contact us.
Yeah. And then the other day when we were doing the training video, which you guys can find at shutupandinvest.com, over the texting strategy, and we go deeper into how to use the software, and we talk a lot of these strategies. We were actually doing live ones, so you'll be able to see that in the training. The one of the guys, we ended up, if you remember, Jay, flipping the script and asking if he was looking to buy any more properties.
Definitely. We get a lot of buyers from our text campaigns, right? Our text campaigns, especially because, we'll get into this, we're very targeted on our list of who we're texting. So we're not just texting everybody, right? We want to text the most highly motivated leads we can. And the biggest pool that we text are going to be other investors, right? So a lot of times these texts for sellers become, big time buyers. And that guy was looking for some deals.
Yeah. Aside from the initial texting, how much do you find throughout the rest of the transaction the texting is effective, and what are some of the different situations?
You said, how much do I find that texting is effective?
Yeah, so we just talked about the initial of how to try to get leads into the pipeline, but then once they're in the pipeline, whether they're interested in negotiating or it's going through the follow-up system, how much more is the texting involved? How effective are you seeing it in the rest of both active deals and also the follow-up process?
Got it. So in our follow-up process, so let me break down how we do our texting real quick, right? So let's say I upload a list into Batch Lead Stacker, right? We text that list, that campaign, and when it's done, one of my guys says, hey, we got about 30 hot leads, right, in Batch. These are from text. These 30 hot leads could be a yes, nothing else, but they had some interest in selling the property, right? What we then do is we download those hot leads from Batch on a CSV, and then we upload them, right, to my CRM. And then I have a workflow called Batch Import Workflow, right? What happens is when we upload them to my CRM, if it's somebody who called already from that campaign, they're already in the CRM, so they won't be uploaded again. They're already in there. But the ones who we haven't talked to over the phone, they'll get in there, and that workflow does, over the next 7 days, we hit them 3 times, right? So we upload the list, in an hour to get a text, okay? The next day, 2 days later, they get an RVM, and then 4 more days later, they get another text. And then what happens when those 3 things are done, it then triggers our green workflow, which is like our hot lead, and that workflow starts at 21 days. So you get the 7 days, and then you get 14 days later, that workflow starts with another text and an RVM and an email.
So after the first 7 days, there's a 2-week break.
There's a 2-week break, yeah, because we hit them hard. We hit them 3 times in 7 days. If they didn't respond to us on that, we don't just keep hitting them up. So there's like a 2-week break. Then they'll get into the green workflow, which is they get hit every 21 days now, and it rotates.
Right. Another campaign flow is 7 days, every day, text, ringless voicemail, email. You can even sprinkle live calls through there to replace one of the texts or the ringless voicemails. Mm-hmm. Then day 8 through 15, which is basically the second week, that's every other day, alternating one of those contact methods. And then from day 15 to day 20, we give them 5 days break. Then we hit them up in one of the methods. Then day 25, another 5 days later. Then day 30, another 5 days later. And now you've done a 30-day follow-up process where you went heavy the first week, every other day the second week, and then every 5 days for the other 2 weeks until after 30 days, now they go in through the monthly checkup a couple times a month, every 10 days, pretty much per month, until buy or die, until they tell me to go fly a kite or until they come back and we start negotiating again.
Yes. As soon as they're in our system, you're going to get hit up forever until you sell the house or, like you said, you die or you tell us to go take a hike.
Yeah. We got another question from Matt. He's asking if we scrub the list against the litigators list, and if we come across one of them, how do we deal with that? That's a very good question. So first, what's the litigators list, Jay?
That's the list of people who are they're thought to highly sue, right? So it doesn't mean that they're on a DNC list. It means that they probably have some kind of litigation in the past, right? and there's a record of that. So these are people who can have a high chance of suing you for texting them.
Yeah. They're professional court attendees.
Exactly. And so,
And there's people that get paid, that they know how to scam the system and get paid with all the settlements out there, and they do that with, personal injury. They know all the little scams out there to bust you up.
There's a Facebook group right now that is dedicated to finding people who text, and they're giving them tips of how to go attack people who text. And there's like a script of how you call them and you scare them. So like they're out there. It's a definite thing. And Batch Lead Stacker, that's built into the program. So when I upload it, they scrub it. Again, get a very good system. Let the system do all that work for you.
Yeah. And then if you do get on the phone and they threaten to take you to litigation, what's the proper way to kind of simmer that down and apologize for the disturbance?
I don't know, man. I've been taken to litigation so many times. The proper way is to apologize for what you did. Say, I'll never do it again, right? And then end it like that. If they keep pushing you, you probably should just say, hey, I'm going to have my lawyer contact your lawyer, right? But, I think if you ignore people, if you apologize to them up front, they usually can kind of cool off, That's what I've seen.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Yeah. Alexander's asking if we text potential buyers as well. Yeah, that's a very good point. So what we were talking about earlier was if you're texting for sellers and they tell you they're not interested in selling their property, then you flip the script and ask them, are they actually looking for any more properties? And you're able to uncover buyers. And we did that in one of the examples we were doing live, and it actually turned into that conversation in our training. But to answer your question, you definitely want to have a text campaign for buyers as well. So you could pull the list for people that are cash buyers and investors and realtors in your area. And then you want to develop a text campaign to connect with them so that you guys can start doing business together. 100%.
Definitely. We're doing that.
Batch upload workflow. Is that an app or just watch you? That's what we call it in the CRM.
Yeah, that's what we label it in our CRM. What it is all our batch hot leads in our CRM, they have their own workflow.
Right. So basically the concept there is you start to, when you're using a certain marketing method, whether it's cold calling, direct mail, texting, no matter what software and no matter what method you're using, you start to get a pattern of what starts the responses, kind of the situation, how they respond, what exactly is it that they're looking for. So then at that point, you create a flow in your CRM to say, all right, these people, I've already had an initial conversation with them 9 out of 10 times. Then you might create another flow that says they responded, but we didn't get to have what we call the discovery conversation, where we discover what they're interested in. We have like a meaningful where we can get data and move them into essentially hot prospects. So sometimes you just have a lead that responds, but you never get that discovery conversation. And that goes into a certain flow where it has different responses and different follow-up to them. And then you have the people that you were able to have a meaningful conversation and they're interested in potentially setting an appointment, or they are interested in setting an appointment, and those go into the hot prospect campaign.
Definitely. Yeah, you gotta classify your leads and then attack them accordingly.
Matt showing some appreciation, brother. We appreciate you. We got, what areas are you guys buying?
We'll buy anywhere that the numbers make sense. I'll say that first, but I'm buying mostly in Michigan, Pennsylvania, Florida.
Yeah. What CRM are we using? Go ahead and reach out to us. We customize the CRM platform, which we're actually talking about making it available for our listeners, because we've tweaked it and been playing with it for so many months already, and we've put so much money into it. So we've customized it. We can go ahead and if you guys are interested, reach out to us and we can see how we can help you out.
Definitely. Joe Ritchie, what's up? That's my dog.
Appreciate the love, Joe. And what else we got here? For the CRM and the script that the program sends out, is that something that you put together and can adjust as you see fit? Yeah, correct.
Mm-hmm. You're talking about
That,
the workflow
yeah,
script.
exactly.
Yeah, I mean, all those workflows we're talking about, the batch one we made, right? We had to tweak it till we figured out how it worked best. But a good CRM allows you to put in custom workflows that can flow the way you want them to.
Yeah. Think about it like this. All a good follow-up system at the end of the day, it just needs to be where you hypothetically create, if they answer me, what should be the next steps over the period of the next 30 days? If they don't answer me, what should be the next steps over the next 30 days? If I've had a conversation with them, what should be the next step over the next 30 days? If I've never had a conversation with them, what should be the next step over the next 30 days? That's like phase one, right?
Definitely.
Then after you kind of carve all that out, then it's okay. After 30 days, if we are under contract, what happens then? And if we're not under contract, what should happen? How should we continue to follow up? What information should we continue to share with them? What kind of value can I bring with them? And it should be able to add automation to it. So once you build this out, which will take you a little bit of time, trust me, but once you build it once, it's set it and forget it. Now you just start pumping the machine and putting in as many people into this flow because it's automated and it's hitting people up with an automated text message, with an automated ringless voicemail. Now, what's the power of a ringless voicemail in your follow-up system? If they haven't responded in 90 days, Jay, what's a good ringless voicemail and a good text message example?
You said if they haven't responded in 90 days, right?
Right.
You're probably gonna say, hey, I talked to you a few months ago. You had some interest in selling your house. I'm just following back up to see if you were still looking to sell the property at blah, blah, blah. Right.
Exactly.
That's how you do.
Now that can be done via text and it can be done ringless voicemail. Now, the power of the ringless voicemail is instead of you having to take time out of your day and make that phone call, they don't pick up and it goes to their voicemail anyway. It's going to every single person who hasn't responded in 90 days automatically direct to their voicemail. Then maybe 30 days later, if they didn't call you back, then the text message goes out with another variation of saying the same exact thing.
Yeah, these workflows are going. I mean, these are built out for years ago. I mean, we have people who call us from 2 years ago because they're in one of our workflows for follow-up, so that you're just getting them in there so that now you want to focus on the highly motivated sellers. You don't want to be calling up and texting and dropping, to everybody in your CRM. Let the system do that so you can focus on the ones who you actually need to call daily, right? Because you're in negotiations with or you need to set an appointment with. That's the whole key to the CRM and the follow-ups.
Yeah. As always, thanks for putting out great info, guys. One of our Facebook fans, I appreciate the love. Thanks, guys. Hey, how can I reach out? For those of you that want to reach out to us, we're on Shut Up and Invest on all the social medias. Go ahead and send us a DM on Facebook or on Instagram. You can go to shutupandinvest.com and there's a button there where you can sign up for all these tools, tips, and tricks. In 2 weeks, we should be launching completely free training, guys, on how we run the business virtually, the virtual wholesaling, the investing, how to do this texting. We're not charging for this training. This is the foundation of everything we've been talking about. And then once you have the foundation and you're able to generate leads, you know what contracts to use, what paperwork, how to pitch to your buyers, then you can go into the higher level stuff, which is the creative financing, that's where we work personally with you guys one-on-one.
Definitely. Some more questions in there. We use our CRM.
So what platform you guys use for ringless voicemail? So there's a couple tools. REI Rail's a good one, which we are currently talking to them to work out a special offer for you guys. But our CRM does it right directly into there. So a really good CRM, which if you want, Matt, reach out to us and we'd be happy to have this conversation with you. A really good CRM does everything all in one. It has your contacts. It has the text messaging. It has the voicemail setup. You can record, it records calls. You can create phone numbers in it. If not, then you got to piece a couple different softwares together and then export and import or create Zap links, and it becomes a lot tech heavy. We know that because that's how we used to do it. And now we've invested a ton of time and money into bringing everything in one place. So there's the initial texting and then the follow-up texting combined with voicemails and emails. As much data as we can get, we hit them every which way.
Definitely.
One of our Facebook guys are asking, do you find you get more leads from texting or cold calling? Which do you prefer?
I think that's from preference. We don't cold call in my company. Very, very rarely do we cold call. So our main two marketing tools are texting and direct mail, right? So we're doing texting, we're doing direct mail, we do PPC. So we don't put money towards cold calling because those three do enough for what we need. So for me, it's texting.
Yeah, I would probably say texting is the best because you're reaching people for a fraction of the price versus direct mail, for example. Cold calling, obviously, if you have a dialer, that's probably like an auto dialer, so you don't actually have to dial the numbers and you upload the list. You could get a good one like Mojo for $99 a month. So that's cheaper than texting because you might be paying half a cent, for a text. And if you send a bunch out, eventually you're paying 10, 20, $30, depending on the size of the list, and it starts to add up. And then by the end of the week, you got, 100, 200, 300, and then you can scale that as much as you want. You control the budget. Cold calling, you pay $99, whatever the cost of the list and the skip tracing is, and that's it. Then it's all manpower if you're doing it yourself. But I find that people respond a lot more via text.
I agree. I definitely agree.
But cold calling is still super effective because once you get them on the phone and they want open to have a conversation, you close the deal and it's worth all that time. I had a guy I met up in Tampa, and he went from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. He dedicated himself and he put everything else on pause. Like, I'm only going to cold call. I'm not going to be figuring out CRMs, and I'm not going to figure out websites. I'm not going to do anything. He told his wife, I'm going in this room 7 days a week from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m, only coming out for lunch. And he hit it hard for 3 weeks and finally got a deal and made $90K on it.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, cold calling works. It definitely does. Again, it's all about what you prefer. We talked before about, kind of honing in on a couple marketing vehicles, so that's just the one that we haven't really focused on, but 100% works. Everything works with consistency, right? What did he do? He locked himself in the room. He got consistent, and he got $90,000 for one call. So that definitely worked.
But 3 weeks from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. of getting nothing. But he didn't waste his time trying to figure out a whole business and every single tool. And he said, I'm going to figure this out. And as long as it takes to get my first deal. And it took him 3 weeks, and it happened to be a $90,000 payoff. Joe Ritchie's asking us, what do we think will happen once everyone starts texting? And as time goes on, it will become saturated. It's a good question.
I think it's already saturated, right? That's why you see how we had to change our initial text message, because everyone was doing the same thing. So it's going to be up to consistency and the list you're texting, right? If you just text the whole county, just pull a list in the whole county, right? You're going to get a lot of no's. It's going to probably burn you out. We're texting targeted lists, like investors who bought a house, 30 years ago, right? Tax delinquent, probate, pre-foreclosure. We're not just texting everybody. So it's all about the list. And we all know a lot. If you're pulling your list from wherever the spots are out there, you can pull them from. A lot of people have the same data too, right? But are they texting those leads consistently? And are they going through and actually pulling out the highly motivated leads?
Yeah. Here's a little tip for you guys listening right now, due to the current moment, depending on when you're seeing this video. But if you're watching the live, we're in the middle of coming out and finally starting to go phase 1 in this pandemic and coming back outside, but there's a lot of uncertainty still. So if you want to target a good list via texting or any other marketing method, try non-owner occupieds in the college cities, right by the universities. They have no idea when people will go back to campus. If it's going to be going back to campus, they took a hit. So those people are probably going to be extremely motivated. When you text a list like that with that type of strategy, those are where you're getting heavy response rates. So that's kind of how you approach this. So it's not so much should I text or should I call or is it going to get saturated or not? It's just more of focusing on the good part of it, which is I can still text and I can, reach people and I can get responses. Let me not focus on what everybody else is doing and how long this is going to work. I'm not going to waste energy with that perspective. I'm now going to spend more time and energy thinking, how can I use this tool that still is effective in the most strategic way to be able to get deals?
Definitely.
Cliche question. What list have you found that gives you the best responses?
I mean, for me, again, the list that I make the most money off of, especially because we do a lot of creative stuff, is what I call my non-owner occupant empty nester list. These are investors who bought a house, 25 plus years ago. They're looking to cash out right now. The stock market's dropping. They're definitely looking to cash out right now before they lose all their value in their house, right? They're very, very open to structuring seller financing on their property. So if the numbers don't make sense for cash, we got another option, and they know the business. So I mean that list right there is my number one list, every day of the week.
Yeah. Another one on the creative financing side is expired listings with no equity. So they weren't able to sell because they owe as much as the property's worth. They tried to sell, it expired. They couldn't get an offer that was probably higher. They're kind of stuck. They're frustrated. They might be, open to creative financing, some subject to deals. You might be able to get some good cash flow deals that way. So those two right now are due to the situation. What other ones are a good idea right now? I mean,
any kind of what we call, special situations. So tax delinquent,
the water list.
Water list.
Had their water cut off recently. Remember, you cut off the water and you turn it back on usually in a couple days. So anybody who hits that list is hot. And if they've been on that list for a minute, then that means that probably the property's vacant or they're really hard up.
Definitely. Another huge one we had, which I don't know if it works right now, but was the eviction list. You can actually go pull the eviction list too. Those investors who want to sell right away. So there's some uncertainty with that in the marketplace right now, but the eviction list was another really good one.
Facebook user thanking us for our time. We appreciate you guys. Guys, if you like what you're hearing, post in the comment section what else you guys want us to do shows on, what other lives you want us to do. We're here every Wednesday at 1:00. You can find us on YouTube live, and then the videos stay on there. My friend, it's 2:00 in the afternoon, and I think it's time for us to go do some deals.
Definitely is. All right, Kevin. Shut up and invest. Right.